Hey everybody, I got a fun one for you. What's the highest damage you ever did in a turn? The highest I've seen, it was a player in my game, not me, was a fighter Paladin doing 154 damage in one turn. I can't remember what they were fighting. They had 5 attacks, a couple smites, great weapon master on some, at least 1 crit if I remember correctly, and the player also had a really nasty magical sword that dealt a bonus 2d6 radiant damage. It's not damage, but I also rolled a 44 for stealth before. An insanely high-rolled upcast fireball hit a big group of 6 to 7 enemies in a choke point. I'll be honest, I don't remember the exact amount of damage, but I remember it was over 300. Blade Singer Wizard, Booming Blade, Illusionist Bracers, Oil of Sharpness, Flame Tongue Rapier, Charm of Biting Cold, Haste, and the Audacity, baby! She was up against the Lightning Elemental and crit twice out of 4 attacks. 200 plus damage. Did a level 20 PvP one-shot. Level 2 Fighter, Level 2 Paladin, Level 8 Blade Singer, 8 Hexblade. Took Meta Magic Adept, Quicken Spell. First round, cast Hex and Eldritch Blast. Sure, why not? Move back, force them to move in on me using a dash, so no retaliation. Next round, Hexblade's Curse and Eldritch Blast using Repelling Blast this time around. Next round, activate Blade Song, Eldritch Blast. Last round, Eldritch Blast again followed by a quickened Eldritch Blast and close the distance. Action Surge. First hit crits, Eldritch Smite and Divine Smite. Follow-up attack at advantage because, well, he's prone. Crit again, more smiting. If you're not keeping score at home, that round was 8d10 plus 8d6 plus 2d8 plus 2d6 plus 8d8 plus 8d8 plus 74. It was over 200 damage, but the exact number got lost in laughter. If you're wondering how this happened, we built our characters privately from each other using the same rules. His AC was only like 18. He got a few hits in, sure, but it wasn't enough to break concentration on Hex, or to even really provide a threat. It was a bad draw on his part that he got my hexafidinzard. Oh my god! Exactly! 200 damage, not a point up or down. I was playing a cleric in a level 21 shot. We were fighting the big bad evil guy, and I used my auto-succeed divine intervention to petition my deity to force the big bad evil guy out of the creature vessel they were controlling so that we wouldn't have to eat through its entire HP to finish the big bad off. The DM ruled that because we were at the edges of my deity's zone of influence, the best they could do was let me roll 10d20 damage against it, essentially my deity slapping it with a god-level smite. As mind-blowingly insane and cool as it would have been to roll 10 nat 20s in a row, what actually happened is that I had a card that allowed me to deal max damage on any damage roll one time. So, of course, I busted that bad boy out. For reference, the DM was using a nat 20 nat 1 rule where PCs would get to draw a boon bonus card from a deck of cards the DM had after getting a nat 20, and the DM would get a card when the PCs rolled a nat 1. I had rolled a nat 20 earlier in the session and had gotten the max damage card. Now, I didn't do enough damage to one-shot the vessel that the big bad evil guy was inhabiting, but if I recall correctly, it did eat through like 3/4 of its HP, and we were able to finish it off pretty quickly after that. So this was using some homebrew stuff, but it's a great story. In a campaign, my friend was playing a homebrew class our DM specifically made for this campaign. The class had access to a homebrew spell that animated an enemy's shadow and attacked them with it. The bigger the shadow, the more damage it does. Seems pretty cool, right? Cue a fight against a black dragon who cast a mystical shadow over the entire battlefield to try and hide in and fight from. My friend reread the spell he was given and cast it. The DM then had to do a whole lot of math to decide how much of the surrounding area was covered in shadow, how much area that was, and how much damage that would translate to. About 900 damage later, we continued on our way, the DM having some kind of crisis that we unmade his dragon. Good times. The highest I've seen as a DM, 194 damage from a Protector Aasimar Samurai Fighter 3 Devotion Paladin 5 multiclass. The party was tapped out after a long and hard dungeon crawl, save for the Paladin, who had been knocked unconscious during the biggest fight for the majority of it, and hadn't touched her spells. The party unleashed an ancient undead dragon. I reskinned an ancient white dragon for stats, just changed the damage type to necrotic. At the end of the dungeon, one of them actually has curiosity killed the catitis and can't help but do stuff to see what happens, and decided they needed to go after it despite the majority of the party being under half HP. The Paladin was at 9 HP because she gave all her lay on hands to everyone else, and maybe having a fourth of their max spell slots because the Paladin convinced them it was their mistake, and it'd be better to go down trying to fix it than run away, which I respected. They chased after the dragon on horseback to a nearby town that the dragon was raising. I figured I'd be kind and at least have some NPC guards trying to help, and maybe take an attack or two instead of my players, so they could have a good fight. In the first turn, once initiative was rolled, the Paladin used her Radiant Soul feature to gain a fly speed and damage bonus, and then flew toward the dragon while the rest of the party did some chip damage with bows and cantrips. The dragon used its breath weapon on a bunch of NPCs and the wizard, who crit on their firebolt and went down. In the second turn, she reached the dragon, action surged, and used her fighting spirit, getting crits on all 4 attacks and rolling well above average damage on each. The entire table was stunned, including myself, when I had to announce she'd not only bloodied the dragon, but brought it to just a hair under a third HP. I decided it was such a badass moment and such a miraculous turn of the tides that I offered her the opportunity to describe whatever she felt was an appropriately badass occurrence to befit the occasion. She elected to have cleaved off the wing of the dragon and sent it hurtling down to the ground to make it a more fair fight. Honestly, it was one of the coolest events to ever have occurred at my table, and I'm just excited to have been there to witness it. I don't think it's the most damage I've ever done, but it stands out in my mind. I was a fighter barbarian, probably around level 6 or something, and I was running a really crit-focused build. I was using a pike with the Piercer feat and Great Weapon Master. The DM gave free level 1 feats. Champion fighter, and I was half orc. High five! We were in the middle of a fight already when a mind flayer showed up, and everyone panicked. We were like a military company, so I asked my captain what we should do about the squid, at which point he was flustered and said we should probably flee. I asked if he was sure he didn't want me to kill it, and he basically said if I thought I could, then feel free, buddy. At that point, I ran up to it, used reckless attack, crit for like 30 damage, then used a bonus action from Great Weapons Master, hitting for another 30. Then I action surged, crit again, and it died. I just casually called out, "Squid's dead," to my captain, and everyone was shocked. I guess their illithid PTSD ran deep. I love that so much. 483 point single punch in 3.5 edition. To the Drow Goddess of Undeath's face! City of the Spider Queen module, possible spoilers. I can't remember her name. Kiran Sela or something like that. Sorry if I really butchered that. There was a ton of epic magic items, expanded and legally stacked one on top of the other, plus crazy house rules for chi or ki abilities we had to make over the years. Our characters started in 1st edition, so they were 20 plus years old, for our level 40 plus uber epic characters to continue advancing. My level 45 monk, who was borderline Goku level, beat her in initiative and went Super Saiyan, putting all my focus into that one single punch. Even though she was a deity, the DM still had her make a save versus massive damage, because we were on her home plane of existence where she could be killed. And I did half of her hit points in one hit. well over 1,000 damage. I thought the last guy had you beat, but okay, you just have to keep one-upping each other. This was in a final battle of a very high-level D&D campaign. I'm talking level 20 with several epic boons. Although there was a lot of homebrew, everything involved in doing this was rules as written. And I'm pretty sure it's the highest damage you can possibly do with only 2 players and just 1 round to set up. We called it the Prismatic Blender. Our bard started by casting Prismatic Wall, a 9th level spell with a very long description. A very important part of that is that unlike many other AoE and wall spells, it deals its damage anytime a creature enters it, not just the first time on their turn. The other half of the combo was a grapple-focused monk with a ton of various speed bonuses. From there, the process was fairly simple. He would grapple an enemy, move next to the wall, and repeatedly move them in and out of it. Enemies with over 1,000 HP were dying in a single round. I love the Prismatic Blender more than I love the Hobo Railgun. My most ever was a perfect culmination of my Thief Rogue 17 Glamour Bard 3 character in our level 20 final battle. Blade Warlock, main bodyguard of the big bad, got up in the face of our party wizard, and I was invisible from, use magic devising, a scroll turn before. Then, Fast Hands bonus action poisoned my +3 dagger with purple worm poison. So I ran up, stabbed the guy in the back, shanked your nan outside Tesco's, and thanks to the advantage, I got a crit. So it was 1d4 dagger, 9d6 sneak attack from 17 levels of rogue, plus 12d6 purple worm poison with failed con save. Then roll all of that again for a crit. Then +8 for max dexterity and +3 weapon. I don't remember the exact number, but the expected average value from all of that would be around 160. Or if somehow everything came up as a max roll, it would be 268. This was a pretty tough villain, and this took him right on down, baby. I was playing a dwarf paladin, high five. And as a level 6 party, we were fighting off an undead force led by a vampire. It's the second round of combat, and I make my attack. It's a crit, baby. The vampire is vulnerable to radiant damage, so I add my greatest smite. 3d8 damage, plus 1d8 because it's an undead, so 4d8. This is doubled due to the vulnerability to 8d8, which is then also doubled due to the critical hit. Oh yeah, that's right. That's 16d8 of radiant damage, in addition to about 2d8 plus 4 of bludgeoning damage. Then I roll my next attack. It's another crit. Suffice to say, that vampire got out of that fight real quick. Have fun with that one, Edward.
Hey, it's Chesh the editor, the guy you blame whenever something goes wrong in the videos. I can't remember the most damage I ever did in one turn, but I do remember a very long time ago, I cameoed in one session of a friend's D&D campaign. The party was exploring the sewers beneath Waterdeep for some reason, and we came across a beholder. The rest of the party, who had to show up the next session and deal with the consequences, fled like the cowards they were. But me, playing a dwarf barbarian blood hunter multiclass I was never going to touch again, said, "F*** it, I'll solo." I fully expected to die, but I thought I might get close, I could finish it off, and then my character would have a cool legacy in their game, right? Well, several nat 20 saves against all that thing's motherfucking raise later, I killed the beholder in 3 rounds, alone, while the entire rest of the party cowered in a nearby hallway, watching from a distance. The DM was absolutely pissed because this apparently destroyed his story, but to be honest, that was the best part. Knowing I absolutely ruined the plot? Oh hell yeah. Good luck railroading while I'm playing.
Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know down in the comments below what's the highest damage you ever did on a turn. And if you'd like to get early access to our videos or some outtakes and other goodies, make sure to join our membership. It helps us keep the lights on, and it's a huge favor to all of us considering YouTube kinda sucks these days. And of course, on the flip side, none of you suck, and I want everybody out there to know that we love you all, that we're happy to have you here, and we can't wait to keep recording more videos just for you. See you later. Bye for now.